the rest will be on the players, their determination, the way they express themselves in terms of quality individually. Because when games are very cagey, you need individual players to stand out and then do the unthinkable. So I'm sure that will be the winner.
Of course, Kotoko have a lot of players who can do those unthinkables. Coach, this afternoon, is he moving to the midfield or he's going to be part of the defense? Justice.
Yeah, he's going to be everywhere. Yeah, when the game begins, you see him.
Thank you very much, Coach. Coach, Dr. Prosper Nate Ogum is the man we just spoke with about Justice Billy. He said he's going to be everywhere, not in the defense or in the midfield. You know, over the past few weeks, we've seen Justice Billy performing very, very well in the defense. You know, the heart of defense and also, you know, trying to push forward and then create chances for the team and then himself. And things have been so interesting. But this afternoon, Samba O'Neill is back. And, you know, he's the captain in the absence of Frederick Asare. He's been captaining the team. And so if your captain is back, then you need to introduce something new. So coach has decided to put Justice Billy back into the setup. And I was just trying to find out where he's going to be playing. Is he going to be in the middle or he's going to be at the heart of defense? And he said he's going to be everywhere. So let's see how things are going to be. Saka Dauda is also on the bench. And let's see if he can be introduced to cause a lot of havoc. Now, Coach Amadou Nuruddin is also joining me. Coach, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Coach, this season hasn't been the best of seasons for the defending champions. Even though you've not lost a game, but you've played so many draws. How different will this game be?
That is normally in football. It's not any time that you get it the way you want it. But I think that we've not started badly. It's not been that the best there, but I think that for us, we are on course. And so it's going to be a difficult game, but Kotoko have started well. They are on top, and so it's going to be a difficult game. But we also try our best not to lose points here. We'll do our best to also put the smiles on the faces of our numerous supporters, because we are the champions, so we cannot have any sub performance. We have set some standards and we need to sustain the standards.
Coach, you are playing against the most successful team in the history of the Ghana Premier League. You are the defending champions. Approaching this game, especially playing away to Kumasi Asante Kotoko, what would you need to do at your best to be able to get a good scoreline here?
We need to focus on the game. We need to minimize our errors. This is a young team. We have young players. They are always motivated. So I think that it's going to be difficult, but we have to give a good fight.
Thank you very much, Coach. So head coach for Samatex is the man we just spoke with, and so I will continue with how things are going to fare in the game. I will be joined by Daniel very soon for us to take ourselves through the game, talk a bit, and then see how things are going to be. This is arguably the difficult game, or the most difficult game of this particular weekend. Kumasi Asante Kotoko, the most successful team, are playing against FC Samatex. Daniel, we've spoken with the coaches, lots of interesting answers from them. Looking at this game, Kumasi Asante Kotoko being the most successful team playing against Samatex, who also are the defending champions. Your little overview over this particular game.
Let's be honest with anybody that is following us. The game is going to be tough. Kotoko, they've played against so many teams, but this is going to be one of the best tests of the season so far, because looking at Samatex, they've shown that in terms of individual qualities to match Kotoko, they can give it to you. And then again, in terms of history, in as much as history, that backing Samatex a bit, by looking at, how they've been preparing and how, they are poised for action. I believe that with the coach available, what his tactical ideas and player engagement, he's ever ready to give Kotoko a very tough match. And, he was addressing the press and he highlighted that he was good. he was going to give Kotoko a very, very tough match. Looking at, and one thing about this game is that, Samatex are having some players from former players of Accra Suffolk. That kind of instinct is going to drive them to do something promising against Kumasi Asante Kotoko. But let's don't take this away. Kotoko are here to lose a game in this particular event. I believe that history may continue, or Samatex may do something promising or interesting to just, turn the fans against. One thing about Kotoko fans is that, they are a bit emotional, quote unquote. The moment you try to frustrate them, they are always on their coach and their players. And I believe that, Kotoko may not try to, let the fans turn their wrath against them at the home team.
Kotoko has been a team of one goal this particular season. All of their games, they score one here, they score one in the next game. It's been one goal all over. I asked the coach about it, and he said they are continuing to work, and they just hope that things will change at the end of maybe by the middle of the season. But do you think in this game things could be different? Maybe playing against Samatex can Kotoko change that by getting at least some 2 goals? Because I believe that they may not win this game if they score just a goal.
In fact, Samatex are going to score per what I'm seeing and per what I am feeling as a pundit. And I believe that before you can win some games, quote unquote, some games, you must score more than 1 goal. And, I was engaged with you one fan, and you told me that, the last time Adriana Stars won the league with one goal project, and they believe that, they are still preparing the team. But I believe that one thing about Kotoko is that they always create chances. But, the ability to always find the back of the net when the chances avails itself is one thing they are trying to improve upon. I believe that, like you said, if they fail to score more than 2 goals here, or 1 goal here, they are going to, to get a tough match. Because I believe with the quality within, Samatex are going to score. It's so that 1 goal projecting, I believe they must improve upon it. Looking at Albert Amwa, the likes of Emmanuel Entry, in team menu, these are all guys that I believe the last time here against, I think, Heart of Lions, Accra Lions, it was all about Saka Dauda. And let's see whether this time around Kotoko can find something to put the fans in terms of scoring 1 or 2 goals to keep them going. I believe that if they score 1 goal, it's going to be tough for them in this particular game against Samatex.
Now, you spoke about Saka Dauda in their previous game against Accra Lions. This afternoon, Saka is on the bench, and Justice Billy has been introduced. I asked coach about it, whether Billy is going to be part of the defense to make it 3, or he's going to be moving into the midfield. And coach's answer was quite funny. He said he's going to be everywhere. I think Justice Billy's inclusion in the midfield this afternoon for Kumasi Asante Kotoko, what exactly do you think it's going to add to the team?
Justice Billy is the fans' favorite. One thing you can never take away from him is that he's having that charisma. He is now the marquee player within Kumasi Asante Kotoko, regardless of all the quality players. But he's the man that all the fans are trusting that every day he will be on his form to keep the team going. And I believe that his inclusion, Sambo Onel is back, and I believe that his inclusion is going to give a lot of headache to the coach to give the perfect role for these 2 boys. And I believe that I would love Justice Blake to be in the middle of the pack, to give that solidity, to give that defensive lone pivot role for Kotoko and allow the likes of Intim Menu and then Andrews, the likes of Intim Menu and the other guys to move forward and then make chances creation for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. But for me, he's going to bring the fans on board to this game because Justice is the guy they love very much. And his energy, one thing about Justice Billy is his energy is hard. And like the coach said, he's not going to play in one room. Because you see him on the fullbacks, defense, midfield, he can even attack in terms of area ball. Because I've seen some movement that when they are crossing balls from set pieces, corner kicks, they always target Justice Billy to give them that kind of nod. And I believe that his presence is going to add a lot from the fans and his inclusion on the field, leadership. Justice is going to give them to Kumasi Asante Kotoko.
On the part of Samatex, I think they also have some experienced players. Some of them who have had the opportunity to play for the likes of Hearts of Folk. James Sewonu is there. We spoke about Kofi Agbezima behind the scenes, and they also have top quality. Do you think they have what it takes to match Kumasi Asante Kotoko boot for boot in terms of competing for the 3 points available this afternoon?
And in terms of quality, let's be frank, Kotoko are trying to build something, but Samatex are having quality players. The likes of, Richard Bedu, formerly House of Folk, talk about, the likes of, Kofi Agbezima. These are all guys that, James Sewenu, Emmanuel Mama, these are all guys that, on a very normal day, they can give you a tough test. So the defense of, Kumasi Asante Kotoko is very, very careful because Samatex are having guys that can try to bully you anytime soon, and if the scoring goes anytime, any moment, and I believe that they must be very, very careful, Kotoko in defense. If not, I believe Samatex, they have a go. They have a go. I believe it's only left for them to do something.
Okay, so the game has finally, on its peak. The game is finally on its peak, and very, very soon things are going to begin here. Proceedings will start, and we'll be waiting to see how things are going to go. It's Kumasi Asante Kotoko hosting Samatex, and you heard from Daniel. He said he strongly believes that Samatex have a goal this afternoon. So, will Kotoko score 2 or more to win, or is the game is going to end in a draw? I have my scoreline, but I'm not going to give it to you. That is my prediction. Honestly, I see this game to be a draw game between Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Samatex, but I cannot, proclaim it as I want to do. So let's wait and see how things are going to go. The next 45 minutes is obviously going to give us the best. Keep watching Globe Television as we bring you the game moment time.
Let's cherish our own. Ghana Premier League is back again. I say this is our own. Let's cherish our own. Division 1 League is back again. This is our own. Let's cherish our own. Ghana Premier League.
And we are ready for the Ghana Premier League 2024-2025 season.
We are ready. We are ready.
We are ready.
I'm ready.
In their quest to defend the Ghana Premier League title, this could be the toughest test among them all. Samatex, the champions of last season, dare to dream. They are here. The champions are in the building against Kumasi Asante Kotoko, the ancient purveyors of the Ghana Premier League. They feel like that they are the rightful owners of what Samatex have. The standard bearers of our game. No compromise. This game is elite. This is perhaps the biggest game of the match day 7 of the 2024-2025 Ghana Premier League as Kotoko welcomes Samatex to Lenkley Sports Stadium in Obuasi. These teams have been flawless this season, even though there have been most of their games being draws. They are yet to taste defeat in the Ghana Premier League, both of them. On the part of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, they have Frederick Asari in post. He's also the captain. Justice Blay, after a turbulent season, is now back into the lineup in this big game. Samba Onel is in, and also Emmanuel Antwi, Michael Che Dramana, Elvis Cheba for Patrick Kasiedu, Albert Amoa, the man who has been bailing Kotoko out in most of their games, Joseph Ablo, Lord Amoa, Andrews and Tim Manu. These are the men beginning the game for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. On the bench, they have Kote Emmanuel, Fernando Wisdom Bassi, Saka Dauda has returned to the bench, Henry Kwame Ansu is there, Mohamed Kamara, Baba Yaya, and also Afoka Kwesi Vitus, Solomon Kwakusa, and Aqua Peter Amidu. These are the men on the bench for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. On the part of their away team, Samatex, they have Kofi Ban in post. Emmanuel Adusian is the captain of the side. Francis Jetria is in, as well as Godwin Sefa, Felix Junior Kodua, Akwasi Sapon, Lord Hilary Adabo, and also Emmanuel Mama Kofia Besima, formerly of Accra Hearts of Oak, and also Ebenezer Aqua, Ebenezer Okran. These are the 11 men for Samatex. On the bench, they have Samuel Mensah Tete, Baba Kuchibo, Isaac Bafo, Richmond Dakon, Ajay Solomon, Gosway, Avazi, Abubakari Seidu, Desmond Jabin, and also Jaffet Novenyon. These are the players for Samatex. Coach Prosper Nete Ogum is the man in charge of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, and also Nuruddin Amadou is the head coach for Samatex. On the part of the officials, we have Atiapa Alfonso in charge of this game at the center. Baba Alhassan Alidu is the first official, the first assistant referee, and also we have the second assistant being Asante Isaac. The fourth official is Nathan Anafo, and the match commissioner happens to be Nimakon Frank Joe. I am Robert Konye on commentary position this afternoon. On commentary position this afternoon alongside my summarizer Dangana Dan. On commentary position this afternoon alongside my summarizer Dangana Daniel.
The defending champion Samatex against the creme de la creme, Kumasi Asante Kotoko in our league since 1956. Samatex against the creme de la creme, Kumasi Asante Kotoko in our league since 1956. And it's obvious that they are going to give us the best of football. Looking at the atmosphere, the fans are here poised for action. They are ready for Kotoko to give them the best of performance. And I believe that Coach Nuruddin, before the game said, they are going to give Kotoko a very, very good match. And Prosper Nete also said that they are going to give Samatex a run for their money. They believe that Samatex are tactically organized. They are oriented in terms of everything. But he's coming to this game with 4 things: composure, confidence, determination, and belief. So this afternoon, we're going to expect those things revealing for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. In terms of quality, what do you expect? Both teams are giving us the best of players in the Ghana Premier League. And I believe that based on history, Kotoko are yet to lose again at Obuasi Linkley Sports Stadium. And I believe that this time around, they can maintain the momentum of not losing a game against any opponent at home. And I believe that looking at their numbers, they played 1-1 against Young Apostles, 1-0 win against Inswatraman, 1-0 win against Accra Lions, and this time around, they are here again against FC Samatex, defending champion. I believe that the game is going to be interesting, but the game is going to be one of the best we've seen so far in this season.
Kotoko yet to taste defeat this season. Out of the 5 games they've played, 2 draws and also 3 wins for the Porcupine Warriors. 24-time champions. Of course, they are the benchmark when it comes to the Ghana Premier League. No team have been able to win at the number of titles that they've won so far. 24, followed by Hearts of Oak with 21 of the titles. Coach Prosper Nate Ogum, the tactician in charge of the Kotoko setup, he believes they will need to be composed to be able to get a victory over FC Samatex, who is also one of the best sides the Premier League have had since last season.
Prosper Nate Ogum mentioned 4 key things, and I believe it's going to be interesting in this game. Composure, confidence, determination, and belief. And looking at the numbers, they played 3 games at home. They won 2, they drew 1, and they've scored 3 goals and conceded 1 goal. So it's going to be a perfect game here, perfect history for Kumasi Asante Kotoko.
Samba now gets back to his goalkeeper, Frederick Asare. Emmanuel Anquic's touch. A hit from Godwin Sefa. Control from Justice Belay. Samba O'Neill's ball to Intim. It goes back to Samba. Frederick Asare calming the team down. He's gathered some experience from the national team, Frederick Asare. He's been there over the past few seasons, and that is actually building his confidence. The Timber Boys move the ball back to Kofi Ban. Ban gets it up. Justice Billy turns well. Billy with a long pass. Miscommunication between the attack of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And that was a good move, but wasted. They have recorded their first throw of the game, taken quickly by Lord Amoa. Amoa crosses. Emmanuel Adusian gets the block. And Kotoko gets their first corner of the game.
Both teams are trying to give us the best of football in terms of playing the ball on the turf. And we are not going to see a lot of long balls in this game. Samatex are playing confidently from the back. Likewise, Kumasi, Asante Kotoko. They are all trying to be calm, to maintain the tempo to their level. And I believe we are going to witness the best game.
Ball taken by Lord Amoa. A header from Justice Blade. The direction wasn't what he wanted. And you can see him showing disappointment in himself.
Samatex played 3 away games. They drew all the 3. 0-0 against Dreams FC. They drew 1-1 against Karela United. And also 0-0 against Mediama. Another away game against Kotoko.
Justice Blade heads. Lord Amoa fighting for it. Blake gets it back. This is in team. Samba O'Neill. Amoa. Emmanuel Antwi. Antwi goes wide. Tackled well once again by Emmanuel Siao. And for the second successive time, Kotoko have a corner.
They are piling pressure on the wide areas, and one thing you must admit is that in terms of effecting corner kicks, Kotoko always target Justice Blade because of his durability in the air.
Once again, Lord Amoa will take it, and Justice Blade will be the target once again. Justice Flakes is still an opportunity for Kotoko. The header goes in straight to Kofi Ban. This was a well-practiced move from the training grounds.
It's obvious that it's been revealing since the start of this season. They always target Justice Blade anytime they're effecting a corner kick. And it's not been that effective, but you could see some glimpses so far in this game.
Kofi Ban. Ban has gone wide, headed out by Samba O'Neill. This is Samatex. Ball for Kwesi Sapon. Sapon's ball looking for Godfrey Sefa. Sefa gets into the box. Sefa shoot. Frederick Asare stops.
Sapon is the guy who joined Samatex from Sky FC. And he's going to be integral in this game because in terms of passing to the rightful players offensively, he's very good for FC Samatex. And so far, he initiated a good move, but goalkeeper was there to save for Asante Kotoko.
Che Dramana has located Samba O'Neill. Frederick Asare. Asare's ball flicked from the middle. Blake. Jose Fablo, Samba O'Neill. O'Neill's long ball for Lord Amoa to chase. Amoa gets there. Amoa crosses, headed out by Lord Hilary Adabo. Patrick Asiedu back to O'Neill. The Kotoko fullbacks seem to be high-flying, moving to advanced positions. This is Lord Amoa. Amoa attempts another cross. What a story this would have been for Albert Amoa.
Kumasi Asante Kotoko are building up from the 3-back system, and you could clearly see that the fullbacks that are zoomed as wing backs in the game are involving offensively for the team, and you could see that those crosses from the likes of Lord Amoa, and it's going to be massive because they want to press and compress the spaces between Kumasi Asante Kotoko lines.
Justice Billy with that header towards a blow. Samba gets it. This is in team. And Nuruddin, the head coach for Samatex, putting lots of instructions out there. Blay. Albert Amoa against Kofi Besima. Lord Amoa. Albert. Lord. Another cross. But dealt with once again by a double.
A perfect game approach from Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Coach Prosper Natewogum is trying to give some indications that the fullbacks are going to be influential in this game.
Amoa. And he strikes. Antwi is quite disappointed with the positioning of the referee, as at the time he got the ball.
Of course, it affected the direction of his kick. Last season, Emmanuel Antwi scored 6 goals for Great Olympics. This season, he scored 1 goal against Young Apostles for Kumasi Asante Kotoko, and he's been influential in terms of creativity, linking up from the defensive part of the midfield to the attack. And so far, he's one guy Kotoko can rely on in terms of giving you the best of creativity.
And that ball was in his favorite position. It would have been a trademark attempt on goal for Emmanuel Antwi.
I remember that game against Young Apostles. The distance, the power behind the ball, the technique and the direction. Super.
Kofi Bran is receiving treatment. And per the laws, he's one of the 2 men who can be treated on a pitch while the game pauses.
Former player for Liberty Professionals and Kim Faisal, Kofi Bran. A safe pair of hands for FC Samatex. A nice competition there from Richard Bedu, former of House of Folk. But Kofi Bran is trying to give some quality display, and so far he's keeping the post for FC Samatex.
Barnes ball picked up. Kotoko building once again. Justice Blay. Disrupted by Emmanuel Adusian. A blow goes to Frederick Hassan. Lord Amoa. Justice Blay. Joseph Ablo. Blay gets it back. Emmanuel Antwi tense. That ball was meant for Patrick Asiedu, but he wasn't in a position to receive it.
The 3-back system is working so far for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Abulo, Sambo O'Neill, and Justice Blay. Perfect start. Let's hope they can continue to finish this game with that same display.
Amoa gets Amoa. Lord Amoa is being effective on the right side. That is cross across the face of goal. Patrick Asiedu. Samba O'Neill tried a shot, but this wasn't enough to cause problems for FC Samatex.
You have to pardon Samba O'Neill because
for FC Samatex.
You have to pardon Sambo Onel because it's more or less an unfamiliar role for him ever since he joined Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And as a defender within that zone, you expect him to give any kind of shot. If you expect him to give any kind of shot. If he was a striker, maybe we were expecting something interesting. But for him, it's pardonable. Sambo Onel.
He has been pardoned this time. Maybe he needs to do better the next this time. Maybe he needs to do better the next time. Ablo's header. Ablo's header. Good ball from Asidu. Asidu goes down and he wins a foul. And he wins a foul.
Samatex are trying to use their mid block. They are afraid to press the center backs of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. So more space, more room for the likes of Justice Blay to progress the ball from the back line.
The communication between Lord Amo and Justice Blay has led to an attacking throw for Samatex. He gets it in. Nice move from Emmanuel Mama. Captain Sian locates Godwin Sefa. Sefa gets it on the left side. Good block from Joseph Ablo. And Samatex will have their first corner of the game. And the third in total.
Last season, Emmanuel Mama scored 6 goals for FC Samatex. This season, he scored 1 goal against BBN Gold Stars. So Kotoko must keep an eye on him.
Godwin Sefa. And the referee says this will be a foul for Samatex.
Very advantageous. At this point, you can call for award the man of breaking Chelsea. The informed days of Glasgow Awako, they're going to give the best of kicks from this spot. Very sensitive zone. Freddy Kasari must be careful.
And for now, we have Godwin Sefa, Ebenezer Ukraine, and that of Felix Jr. Kudria. Sefa leaves it for the 2. Ball being shot inches above the crossbar.
4 games between these two teams. Kotoko won 3, they lost only 1. So in terms of head-to-head, historically, you give it to Kumasi Asante Kotoko, and they are playing with confidence.
This is in team. Ablo. Patrick Asiedu. Fans are here to support, dare to dream. Albert Amour tense. Ebenezer Ukraine. The fans are calling for something, but the referee thinks otherwise.
Samatex are draw masters so far in the league. 6 games before this game. 2 wins, 4 draw. They scored 6 goals and conceded 3. So in terms of giving you a very balanced game, Samatex are there with the numbers.
And the referee has stopped play. For Emmanuel Mama to be attended to. Emmanuel Mama has been treated, and Coach Nuruddin giving more instructions to his men.
Last season, he scored 6 goals for FC Samatex. This season, the only goal against Bibiani Gold Stars. He's still trying to add more numbers to his books. Very dangerous player on and off the ball. And Kotoko must keep an eye on him.
That is Emmanuel Mama. Touched out by Samba O'Neill.
I think Samba is not feeling comfortable on that 3-back system. He's playing more or less a 4-back, so that compatibility with Ablo is not that connecting very well.
This is Samoa. Dramana goes to Lord Amoa. Amoa turns, gets it to Justice Billy. Ablo receives it. Samba O'Neill. Blay. Amoa. Being battled out by Godwin Sefa. Out of play. This will be in favor of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Justice Blaze through towards Samba O'Neill. Touched back to Jesse Fablo. But the referee is saying there was a foul throw.
Elvis Cheba is missing the game. He's not adding defensive work. Offensively, we are not seeing him that best. He must try to involve himself in this game because Kotoko cannot dare to drop points here.
Emmanuel Mama with a flick. Felix Junior Kudia.
The former second player, Felix Junior Kudia. Look at the height. He can deal with you in terms of area balls.
Ablo. Joseph Ablo's pass intercepted by Mama. Mama shoots. But Ablo has made amends. And there's a turnover. Emmanuel Antwi right into the box. Antwi's ball touched by Besima Amoa. That was a good move from Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Brilliant play from Emmanuel Antwi at the edge of the box. And this could have been the opening goal of the game.
The creative level of Emmanuel Antwi is something you cannot take away any moment. Look at how he was able to take on the fullback. The cross was interesting, but unfortunately, he's one tough customer that Samatex must try to keep an eye on because he can link play from the wide and the channels. And this time around, look at where he picks the ball and was able to take on the fullback.
Blake. Frederick Asari. Joseph Fablo. Team Asare very well composed. Frederick Asare, the captain. This is Cheba 4. Cheba 4 times. The team gets it. Blake. Back to team. Lord Amoa. Albert Amoa tried to put it down. Coach Prosper Nateogum is not a happy man.
One thing Kotoko must try to consider is that looking at the height of Albert Amoa, those long balls are not helping. And they are attempting so very good crosses, but his inability to dominate the crowd box of Samatex is something that coach must work on, because they are playing very well. The fullbacks are attacking very well. Crosses are coming in back. Look at the height against the likes of Agbeshima. He's indeed struggling, Albert Amoa. So far, 2 goals. But last season, he scored 5 for Great Olympics. But this season, he scored against Karela and Accra Lions. Albert Amoa. He can bully your defense in terms of physique. Tough customer over there for Asante Kotoko.
Felix Junior Kudia is up. And the game will continue.
Samatex are missing the likes of Emmanuel Keyeke, Evans Osewusu. They were crucial last season for them. But in as much as these 2 boys are not within the team, let me be emphatic. Keyeke is out of the team on a transfer, but Evans Osewusu is out due to injury. And I believe Osewusu impact is something they are missing, because last season he scored 11 goals for Samatex. And this time around, he's not there. Let's see what the likes of Emmanuel Mama can do.
Frederick Asare. Justice play. Chei Dramana and Tim.
The team I know is not so involved in this particular game. And all the time, Emmanuel Mama is being dropped to link him up man for man. So he's struggling to progress the ball, as we know, Andrew's in team.
Kofi Ban for Samatex. Ban's ball was straight to Samba O'Neill. And Francis Jetuya was unable to connect. Throw taking. Mama battling. Mama gets it. But this will be a Kotoko foul.
Samatex are trying to mark Kotoko dangerous players. Emmanuel Nchu is marked out. Albert Amoa and the like. So they are struggling to get into spaces. The balls are coming from the back, but the dangerous players are being linked up 1v1 from Samatex.
Nice display from Kodria. Jetuya touches. The ball has been lost again. And Lord Adabo has been cautioned by the referee.
Adabo joined from RTU. And he's not that bad for Samatex this afternoon. But before this game, that game against Accra Lions, Kotoko were channeling the attack through Saka Dauda. This time around he's on the bench. And they are struggling to find a way to attack Samatex in terms of the wing play.
Felix Junior Kudia causing a lot of problems in the midfield for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. But he seemed to be handling that quite well.
What interests me is that he joined this team from a Division 1 side. And he's playing very well.
Jetua goes down, no foul. Patrick Asiedu's touch. Nice pass. Could this be the first opportunity? And Albert Amoa dealt with by Lord Hilary Adabo.
Samatex must be very, very careful because they want to rely on the high defensive line, waiting for the offside trap to track Kotoko players back. They were safe because they were thinking that Albert Amoa was offside.
Corner taking, headed by Elvis Cheba 4. That his header was a bit more wide, heavy to connect and beat goalkeeper Kofi Bam.
Cheba 4, a 25-year-old guy, former of Liberty Professionals. He went to Tunisia for Slonima.
And he's now back in the setup for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Emmanuel Antwi. Antwi's pass towards Asiedu. Asiedu's cross.
Kotoko are trying to be on the front foot, but they are lacking some connection. Patrick Asiedu, Albert Amoa, Che Jamina. And I believe Prosmate Natiogun is looking at what is going on offensively because you can play very well from the back, control the midfield, but when your attackers are lacking that connection, definitely you're going to struggle. And in as much as Kotoko are trying to control the game offensively, the link up, the understanding offensively is lacking.
Justice Billy hits Emmanuel Antwi. Jetua Adabo battling, has lost the ball. Patrick Asiedu on the left for Kotoko. Good move from Asiedu. Albert Amoa. What a goal this is. Just half an hour and Albert Amoa has put the men in red up front. Kumasi Asante Kotoko have their boot on the throat of the champions. And what have you got? Samatex. 1-0 Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Just a minute, over half an hour. And the third goal this season for Albert Amoa is in.
The wing play for Kumasi Asante Kotoko is working. Look at how he manages to take the defender on. And Albert Amoa within the sensitive zone. He's one guy in as much as he hasn't been that potent, but you cannot write him off within that moment. He was within the traffic, 2v1 in the middle between two defenders, but he was able to find the back of the net. His third goal of the season. He scored against Karela, Accra Lions, and this time around against FC Samatex. Last season for Great Olympics, he scored 5 goals. This time around, he is looking forward to increase those numbers.
He was the man who scored Kotoko's first goal of the season when they played against Karela United at the Sheriga Sports Complex in Nalerugu. This afternoon, he has registered his 3rd goal of the season for the Porcupine Warriors. And the men in red are in front.
It's obvious that the likes of Agbeshima at the back for Samatex. It's so disappointing to concede from a moment they think they could defend. But Albert Amoa salvaging points for Kumasi Asante Kotoko.
Ball for Che Amoa. A pass to Asiedu. Asiedu strikes. Offside.
This time around they will save. The high line is working. The coach is not happy.
Prosper Nateogum. Not excited.
Of course. It's always good when you get a questioner. Look at that boy again.
It was good composure from Asiedu. Another strike from entry. And that was a brilliant save from Kofi Ban. Kotoko still knocking for the next goal.
The confidence from Kumasi Asante Kotoko players. Delight to watch. They now believe that they can play and score FC Samatex without fear. And history is backing them. And in terms of quality, they are playing very, very well. A reliable back three. That was the goal from Albert Amoa. The link up. Sidu gave every pinpoint grounded cross into the box.
Adabo. Benisa Akwa. As meander this way. And that ball was given to Godwin Sefa. Foul for Samatex, taken quickly. Kodia against Aplo. Foul for Kumasi Asante Kotoko.
Looking at the 3-back system that Ogum is playing with, all the time the wing backs must try to come and give that defensive compatibility. And we just saw that from Patrick Asidu. He's doing that with Lord Amoa. And it's interesting.
Joseph Ablo. Samba Onel. Onel's ball to Asiedu. Asiedu looking for Chi Dramina. Dramina's ball in. Albert Amoa. He failed to get a touch. Kotoko looking more dangerous. Amoa. Emmanuel Antwi, Justice Billy. But the defense of Samatex have managed to calm the ball down for Kofi Ban to claim.
Prosper Ogum started a season with back four. But this time around, tactical adaptation, adjustment, and the three back is yielding results so far. The wing backs are joining attack very well, and they're controlling the game with ease from the flanks.
This is Samoa. Albert Amoa looking for Lord Amoa, intercepted by Emmanuel Sian. Sian's long ball. Looking for Mama. Mama once again. Upper Kings Applaw. Emmanuel Anchi has committed.
When you have your dangerous players dropping deep to defend, it affects you offensively, and the likes of Emmanuel Mama are dropping to help defensively. So no threat for Samatex offensively.
This is Anchi. Nice ball towards Amoa. Can this be another opportunity? And Albert Amoa once again couldn't get a connection. And Samatex would have some space to breathe as they win another throw.
The numerical advantage for Kotoko in defense is something difficult for Samatex to break through. Because all the time, Emmanuel Mama is surrounded by three players offensively. He's frustrated, you can see.
And Coach Prosper Nate is not just resting on this goal. He wants more, as was once said by Oliver Twist.
They must score more because they are yet to score more than 2-3 goals so far in this season. And I believe that one goal project is not going to help them because they may meet a tougher customer that will score more than 3. Kotoko must try to outscore them to win that game. And so far they are playing very well. They've been getting chances. That game against Young Apostles and Swatraman Accra Lions, they can create, but ability to find the back of the net.
Samba's pass intercepted. Frederick Asare straight into Justice Billy. Plays ball to Albert Amoa. And Ebenezer Akwa has been booked. He gets the first yellow card of the game.
Ebenezer Akwa, former of Sky FC. That tackle was so serious. Look at how Kotoko is changing passes. The wing play is working. But again, Ebenezer Akwa, the tackle wasn't the best. And you could see the player is in pains.
Albert Amoa. He's up. And Kotoko will be glad that he's able to continue. He's been a good player this afternoon, dropping deep into spaces to receive the ball, linking up play. And that is what top teams like Kotoko need to succeed.
You need a striker that can facilitate link play, drop deep, find channels, and go into some spaces for you to find him to score. And Albert is doing that so well.
Good ball for Che. Goalkeeper Kofi Pan was there for Samatex. Pan will go for a long one. Pan does. Justice Blame missed, but Joseph Ablo wouldn't.
When you have a versatile player in Justice Blay, he offers you a lot in terms of defense and offensively. He can give you back three. He can drop into midfield to aid the likes of Inti Menu to progress the ball offensively. And it's working for Kumasa Asante Kotoko.
Che Siedu goes back to O'Neal. O'Neal's pass for Che. Siedu gets it in space. Siedu's cross once again. And goalkeeper Kofi Ban had to once again battle. This is Mama. Mama has got into a dangerous position. Mama's pass. Could this be an opportunity for Samatex? Blocked by Joseph Ablo.
What was Mama waiting for? He got a space, got a time. Emmanuel Mama, my goodness. A player of his caliber.
And coaching at Ogum wanted a foul.
Look at the space. He was 1v1 against the goalkeeper. I don't know where he was sending that pass.
Very early in the game. And Samatex making changes. Francis Jetua is off for Samuel Mensah to come. And also Ajay Solomon has also been introduced. Headed in. This is Okra. He goes wide towards Sefa. Sefa in the box. Opportunity for Samatex. Shot blocked. Cleared out by Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Samatex mounting pressure at this moment. As early as this point, Samatex have already made 2 substitutions.
And it's obvious that the game plan is not working, so the coach must adjust to put players in to let the system function because the game is still young. We are having a lot of minutes to play, especially in the second half. So we must try to put guys to warm themselves up for the system to work. But the defenders of Kotoko, so solid, taking risks, throwing themselves up and down to defend. And Asedu has been interesting to watch.
Frederick Asaro's ball was for Asiedu, but he failed to keep it in play.
Now with different profile of players, Ogum has shown that getting Asiedu can create for you also. Saka Dauda can also create for you from the flanks. You must get a lot of variations to keep you going in the marathon league. And some glimpses from Prosper Natiogun.
Ajay Solomon, ball sent wide. Emmanuel Mama, corner.
He's trying to prove some stubbornness, but you can never doubt the defenders of Asante Kotoko, especially the command from Justice Blay.
This is Sefa. And this will be a turnover for Kotoko. The men in red approaching the area. But Kofi Ban got in touch. 3 minutes of additional time. We're already done with one of the minutes.
Tactically, Ogum is on top. Nuruddin Amadou, the coach for Samatex, is struggling.
This is a pass from Felix Kodua, beautifully controlled. This is Samatex. And Jay Solomon, the man who was just introduced, has come with some power.
They have a game plan, and some players are designed to make some system work. And Jay Solomon, instant impact. Somebody else struggling to contain him. But their precision offensively, Samatex must improve.
Ajay sent O'Neill to sleep.
It's obvious when you are facing deadly wingers, they can find a way to humiliate you. And Samba, this time around.
You talked about the fact that he's operating from the left as a centre back. And I don't think that is his favorite role.
One thing when you're playing three back is that those three centre backs must be careful in terms of anticipation, because you must cover the wing backs that had joined the attack and also play as a centre back. And clearly, Samba O'Neill is struggling to adapt in as much as he's playing very well, but 1v1, he's jittery. So Peter Chiedu must try to always cover him up.
Patrick must try to cover him up. Emmanuel Anchi, the safer blow. Frederick Asari. The referee takes his whistle up there. And that will be the end.
Well, all right. Good morning. Sorry, afternoon. And a kwesiada. Porcupine stand the sumo bibi akwaba. Edebaso. Exactly 2:30. Ebesen share na your live commentary all the way from Obuase. Edi ababa sumo. But quickly, Kumasi Asante Kotoko ene. You know what we normally do before say your day commentary is that we read the prediction of the people. Inti Kotoko Ebo Samatex. What is your prediction for the game? Game now, Kotoko Bono, always predicting the same. You drop that out of the comment section. Whilst we prepare to bring you the live commentary, we take advantage of that. We read the comments. Now, yes, starting interactive based. And I think that Sunday is the day that I really get interactive with most of the people that follow us on Asante. In Tuba, you subscribe, then you also drop your comment. A win for Kotoko is what we are all hoping. But a win, no one is saying. But let me run you through the lineup. Coach Ogumaye system change. Yeah, why tactical changes? System na nkasa. The system now about why changes or the system no. And why personnel changes. Brante na starting why sign ewo. So let's keep these two things or learn to a trip. The first change is that we're moving from the last game at Kotoko was Asare Lordamwa, Patrick Esiedu, Ablo Blay, Michael Intim, Andrews Intim, Elvis Sheba and Emmanuel Entry, Dauda Saka, Albert Amwana Jacob. That was more of a 4-3-3 system. In today's game, Coach Oguma started from a 4-3-3 system to a 3-5-2 system. From a 4-3-3 system to a 3-5. 3 at the back, 5 in the middle, and a front 2. Yes. That is how our Coach Ogum operates in a game. So that's the first system change. A 3-5-2 system from Coach Ogum. Also, one of the questions I know most of us were asking is how Coach Ogum, the return of Samba, or be fixing into the team, whether he'll keep him on the bench or he will play him. Coach Ogum had other ideas. Last season, Kotoko bought 3 back, we knew almost 7 matches. And then I hear the revival of Kotoko back to the Premier League, maybe second at the end of the first round. Wasanko back to the system. So this is it. Yenim said Yakob there, Abdul Karim Abdul Rahman no there. Kotoko PMO US one baby. Tionokrade is automatically out of the game. But the big surprise now account here, Dauda Saka. Saka is on the bench. Saka played well, but he's on the bench in today's game. See, that's the big surprise. That's the big news. And Samba Swabem. Es Jacob Samba and Akko bench. So you let me run you through the starting 11. Now I think in the process we get to know Freddy Kasari are maintaining the position as the goalkeeper. And now I can say the performance of Asare. There is an agenda. There is a discussion on Black Stars Angola match back in the can say Angola match and Niger match. The Niger match, they beat my baba and any Niger match. So people are pushing an agenda that let's use most of the local based players. So Asare, bon modern, maybe a Black Stars in Niger obet me nyamuada. The book Kumasia obet me nyamuada. Okay, so Asare starts. Don't forget, in 3 matches, we concede 1 goal, keep 2 clean sheets. The back 3, as obvious as it can be, Samba, Unel. So Samba will be red team. Samba comes in to start. But the captain will be Frederick Asare, because Asare will. Then Blay, Bobby. Justice Blay is playing. Maintained. And Joseph Ablo also maintained. So that is the 3 strong men at the back. Definitely you expect that either Ablo Beko, that, but you know Samba will be in the middle. Samba will definitely be in the middle. Maybe Jerem few things for Blay and Ablo to be our change. Initially, who was line up no? So when the midfield partnership, you might assume say you are the Blay come midfield. But when you see the players in the midfield, then you realize that Blay is not playing midfield. But rather Blay is playing centre back. So 3 back. Pushing Lord Amwa to operate on the right wing because Kotoko is playing without true wingers. Oh boy. That's what I see. Kotoko is playing without true wingers. Oh boy. Omuni typical wingers were born. Until Lord Amwa fa nifa fast nyina. In the last game, now Lord Jinanifa and now Albert Amwa. Esu Jinanifa. You don't Amwa they will pretty say, but now Amwa come more central. You understand that? And Patrick Esiedubo left wing back. Wafa benkumo nyina because in the previous game, na Patrick Esiedu one Abrantia. Your friend Dauda Saka and na e pretty or wing so. In today's game, there is no true winger. Winger be anywhere or down 10-10-1 ho. Into these players near proper wing backs. Kweni nabre chiri 10-10-1 ho nyina ya wodia. Line is nyina ya wodia. The advantage is that ukona ukakemwa because there are 3 players at the back no ba ko be hye ho ma. Now we recover ba. Nte benkuma and enifa the right center back. Close instead of 4 at the back, and 3 not 3 no, my bemu a that's what I say. Send ye full backs now, wing backs in the car, will cover. That is the wing backs. The middle 3. Mike Kulche Jamana returns. Inti men who stays. And Emmanuel Entry forming the midfield 3. They may pick on. That is the midfield 3. Inti a 3-5. 3 way 3 say and a 5 a woman. The 5 no wing back Lord Amwa. Left wing back Patrick Esiedu. Now when you're in team Michael Andrews in team menu Michael Che Jamana. Ewo ho. Now when you're Emmanuel Entry. Normally, only a fan say We share the creativity of entry. So he will be more like a number 10. Now say entry, edge no him say. But what I said, now entry, edge no him say. So two players to stabilize the middle for entry to be just in front of them. He will be the one all link it forward, on the free link it forward to the front two. Okay, open front two no boy now. And in this case, let me give you something. Previously, also there a Lamptey and a ball. So now the Lamptey rule now Emmanuel entry. And a ball front two of Isaac Opon previously. Nef Trebak near Isaac Opon and Mukwala. Until was another front two of Elvis Cheba for Awuche. The last time I catch on how important Awuche is to Coach Ogum. And we bought Albert Amwa. That's the front two. Awuche Albert Amwa. Me say. And that is the strategy of Coach Ogum Edeko. To loading the team ne pay. So what you see? The players who are maintaining Freddy Kasari are maintaining. Lord Amo are maintaining. Are maintaining Ablo. Are maintaining Patrick Essien. Are maintaining Blake. And a samba abem for Abdul Karim Abdurrahman. Wababe Shechiro. But what I say? In the previous game, about in team, and about Emmanuel entry, no about Elvis Cheba for Awuche as the front, Aha. And about Albert Amwa, Saka, and Jacob. In today's game, the changes, Jacob our free, Ama Samba Abeshim, and Saka our free. Ama Michael change Amunabeshim. So 2 changes and a Coach Ogum aye in the squad. But the system entirely are facing massive changes on the structure. And that is how Kotoko Ediura game against Tima. Your friend Samatex. Me just watch it what I see. Coach Ogum will be paying. That was when he bought Morrison and Peter Aqua. The difference between them is that now Morrison and Peter Aqua are wingers or my wing backs. It's not the normal lucky pie defense. So no try track back, but normal lucky defense. But when all both defenders are wingers are now fullbacks, or me attacking minded. Patrick Essien, how attacking minded is he? And Lord Amwa. So now he's giving them the freedom to join the attack. At the same time, because of more the instinct of defenders, some defenders that dominate defending that are intino, almost drop back. Ebe can't you know 5 with Chirona. Kotoko is still having the men to almost see the basic principles of defending as because only defenders and kasa and omako menu. So now the attacking job lies in the hands of Elvis Cheba for Emmanuel Enchi, any Abrante and Albert Amwa as that 3. Tita front 3 no once na Morrison Pitapa and na Isaac Opon Mukwala Lamptey. And I know about Babaya, and I know about Sheriff Mohammed. She said him said Sheriff Mohammed rule Andrew Sintim men na Ajawafa. We all know and you fini bebre. And about a proper central midfielder in Michael Chegamana. Babaya is an attacking midfielder, but Michael Chegamana is a central midfielder. Utimibo defense timibo attack central and kasa. And Wabo Emmanuel Entry as attacking midfielder, central attacking midfielder. The alarm table. The difference, one again, which me can be because Baba Ayepra. And a roya ayeke, ebia, Saka and Timimbo. Government I'm just about Saka, Cheba for Emmanuel Entry and Albert Amwa. No, when you bear 4 players, Saka, Entry, Albert Amwa, are which 4 away anymore. But he also feels that ebia I need to stabilize as midfield. And no Sadia. And a member in team and a Michael Chedram. So that is what is coming. And by 2:30, the Betnational near the confirmed one at the abroad. Now, live way no so it's me at all. To move from prediction in Guasia, Mama. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Bye bye. All right, yeah, Pong. Until the last Konko update and ever. It's been a very intense day, pa. It's been a busy day. A lot of course, and I say nipa placing. Now, also due diligence. Senior, any news that you report will be accurate and will be solid. Well, this is Porcupine Stand with Sober. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm on my monitor on Facebook and on my monitor on YouTube. I posted 2 videos. This is my 3rd video. If I post. Now, Yamamo series of what is going on, and everybody that has been following this page filled with the news and the updates. Good. Exclusive BSC baby and I've been doing that on Facebook. So let me state this clearly. I will state this clearly. I'm still yet to get confirmation from Kotoko. Confirmation from Kotoko. But you have confirmation from journalists on the grounds. We speak to sources within Kotoko. And there'll be a monitor. We are speaking to sources within Kotoko. And I'm speaking to sources of journalists around. Pardon me. Journalists around have confirmed the story to us that a smart Abdul Hamid and Abdul Karim Yehuomo. They've confirmed to us that Yehuomo na yebechirim na yabon komoni. For their exit, but let me confirm, I'll confirm 5 stories for you in this whole conversation. First thing that I can confirm is that Abdul Karim and Abrantia, your friend is smart. They left the stadium or the hotel without their passport. Also, me catcher will say, I cannot confirm whether omo passport or hini brenya je anasa wanje. But what we know is that normally players etu kwan manone yesuro se obi betimi adwane a monya wura krum ho moye check-in ye bibia awia ana anya check-in se mo dem arrive at airport ye dem be bibia awia ye obi passport. Yes, ye obi passport. Na what team manager ho nti me ka asa asem na awia nti obi say black galaxies, it happens a lot. Sometimes in Bono, your trips ni bi oha media men say we are attached to the FA not to avoid the imboni a yetimi unless we near the yetimi agye account. Yes, anybody biana ebia system ni stro say obi bedwane akofa ha obi aba na yejigu ho time so ni nyina ekwa na ye do obi ade ama na wo de ko. So it is confirmed that ohini brenya yes ade na kama due diligence omoye. So we can also go ahead to say that this whole thing is a sign of the science and take company for, because whichever method that is expected of leaders to apply to make sure their players will go and come back omoye. But asem de ba na ba se twachia unya ba so bode da enti in your wisdom nhyehyɛ a wɔyɛ deɛ wɔyɛ so ate aseɛ, but nipa na unim nipa tirim ɛdɛ nipa tirim asɛm ɛna unim adwempa a ɛwɔ nipa tirim ɛnyɛ saa deɛ a from that angle, the angle of supervising the players, the angle of monitoring the players, the basic principle teams apply, especially from Ghana when they travel. Asante Kotoko yeni nyina. Number 2, the issue of a smart injury and mpenimfo koswade the 2 kwan. The explanation I'm getting is that a smart ebebo loan e Kotoko. You and I know that ebebo loan. Explanation I'm nya eni o ebebo loan. And when you US visa. Now, clearly, the technical team of Asante Kotoko is impressed with the performance of a smart. And they felt that maybe TME, there is difference between a report and my opinion. This is a report. My opinion is different from it. It makes me a candy, I can't tell my can be a but sir, and then my adwene echo pen a different story. But what else? So the news is also a pra, but visa no, and our ticket no, and ya kotoko na I repeat, visa na and our ticket na nya Asante Kotoko na etua ka. Organizer na etua. And they felt that yemfa nko for the experience aspect of the game because when you have a ne dia na se yebekọ de enya fese nipa na nya ye kọ yes ye ja na Ghana nti yemfa nko. So from what I am getting it's an issue of adimpa no yemfa nko na Kotoko ni mu nya ne de Kotoko mu asetena ne nya ne de na bia afe ba ko ne kura so na se ye convince no ama na convince the club. So I still want to stay with Kotoko because of the kind of positive welcome. Anyhow, our Kotoko treating no, ama the whole process na easier for Kotoko. So that is a suggestion. Our penny be the two ja. So okay, at least through Kotoko nti all these things can be used to convince the player to stay outside the 1 year deal. So that's the second thing, the explanation that I'm getting. And they felt that player no at least the salary club or how he learn adeno issue of obi dwane they never suspected these players to do that. They say a smart there no. Like I said, it's a report, not my opinion. The ama pick reason behind it. And yes, say me fuaso. But the main reason back one a war in Komonum Kotoko just wanted to treat these players so good so that even at the end of the loan, he will still have good memories and it will be easier to convince him to stay at Asante Kotoko. Dear Tosomi answer, I'm a day, bro. The players left without giving anybody notice. I repeat, players need Jahoko Yomamu be notice. And after they informed Asante Kotoko, I am simping for your mom Ghana and Opano. Kotoko ne decide is a one. Immigration in penny from Babo Mamania. 2. Honorable police amania. 3. Coach Akwesiapia is aware of whatever that is going on. For them to also lay information to key people within Sudan they can speak to. Send at least Ebia Obiati Omonka for them to understand the magnitude of the issue. Nti call ni bi koya maybe call Sudan nyina based on their mepeke. Say ebia waba say wakwa kopie ebia wonua bi ho a ana wadanfo bi ho a sre na mani hu asem na asi no sene esofa nti ema pressure echo system no. Don't forget Abdul Karim Abdul Rahman ni nua ebo national team Ghana and Sudan game no bo na ehye jesi number 10 edema Sudan. Enti onu kromo bo na amane se de wunua no Kotoko America na CD ti bo abusua amane na wakwa akosi busuani bi so amane hu asem ne kese ne sene asifa ene sene kuro no mu huru na enimanimu ya no se agensesa bi na bekoso ama omasamba baka omunsamba back. At least the magnitude of the issue was explained to them. Enti ene Nana Pinkra, my best of knowledge in Ghana, but we need US. And they've been course in and out. Into all the necessary bodies. Say omo a report to their players missing omo ye. Number 4, your conquest. Police ne buy and me catch we are say car never pick boys. Omo nya car ne number. Me catch we are. Be your hair we are video me kind. And me can see hope. Later, say Yemian Moa Bruchi started confirming say police about. Fortunately, we say Bright can come with currently with DC or game and I say Edwin Ewo Kobe. The ship dealer, Oliver Khan is also there. When they can come and a call also no more Canada and no more Washington DC. Into one can come to Chamu is also reporting because he's also there. Seydou Ademu is also there. I'll also report to. Penifoni bit say Prosper Senado is around. Edmond Naka is around. Willie Bossman, also Ghana Football Association, is also around. These are all people who are around. Asat Yedin Komo is Stephen Oduro, Alcohol, Michael Osei, Ember Power, Ewoho, Nana Hindia, Ewoho, Thomas Boachiajaman, Tom Kruger, also Hobby. The place Ghana week. So they've all joined the celebration of Moka to celebrate. Game never cost around 10. And you know one 7 year. So yes, all these people are around. Enti me catch said police nearby no story about who a tough from someone who can number plate. And that was the beginning of their investigation. Now, Ariano, yani omo holding komunyina de omo ka kire ne yese empire omo bonyina say car na ebe fa boys ni nye Uber. Even that sebre my own uncle cry catch me say Obed Matis waka say car no mahu number plate. But what if car no Oma arrange their escape plan to the extent that car no Uber then they see. Fortunately, it was not an Uber. It turns out say omo the Sudanese community Washington DC. That is the confirmed story. I'm call the Sudanese community. The car never form. Now a car is linked to the Sudanese community Washington DC, and that is how they were able to track down the players and get to them. Now this is it. At this moment, the fifth thing that I've been told is that they cannot arrest the players because players no, they give them an excuse and then so currently the police is handling the issue. Say omo says no spy and waka say omo guardian they should come under you straight away. Adult. They are capable of taking decisions whenever they want. 3, almost time or somebody will crew and broso no akaso overstaying with Johnny. Just that Asante Kotoko were explaining themselves. At the end of the day, based on investigation, anyhow Asante Kotoko company for any bray, a course, a report to call all the necessary bodies. It will be difficult for this to affect the records of Asante Kotoko or the US embassy system. Because in the system, Kotoko had due diligence to announce their players missing. But at the moment, krokro na abe krokro ni pana se obeba back. Untimi nkonko yere no nkobam no mfanemba. And that is the story. I flew over. So confirmed from journalists on the grounds that the 2 players' location have been found. Omo the Sudanese community was here. Matisse Bika Sudan ambassador, media di nipa say almost Sudanese community. It can be the ambassador or the embassy, but almost Sudanese community. Now, the news say say Ghana select side na ebe bonti omo nka hono. It's more like it was the joke around. Ewiano kra ni edi nkomo. Na yepe news every hono. Na eka aseresem a na ebi mo keka so emeyem ye yem kura nhihye ebi omu ni se ball no wo mo nka ho ntino ebi omu twa omu ho aba. It was more like a joke around. Will it be their defense? We don't know. But the good news is that they've been found. And the next statement from Kotoko, when the players land in the hotel, so Moba hotel or they are Kotoko, my best of knowledge, explained it to the police. He said, the club will be held responsible and they have contract with these players to protect them. Into anything within the powers to bring them to the camp of Kotoko should be done. And no any day if you are me de ema. Enti oya Kotoko teni me catch we and say mframa bi bo. Na empire air bo and say mframa na ebon ebedura numre na mframa pa. And I can tell you say numre yi kwe mframa num astate sesa. When you speak to people around Kotoko, they have not confirmed, but they sound calm than the morning. Honestly, in the morning, now when you be doing phone, you can feel the voice shaking, but then they sound more calm and also say they be the dim. But ubisa so Oma be through hotel, you don't get that confirmation. Some be through hotel, you don't get. And no, the free Washington DC bar, yeah, the emam. Enti, young so a bumpire say Yamedium Baby because based on the report the players are saying say Omundane, just that they felt that they are not part of the game, and it was their plan to come back. Gomekai say we are new Hunipa and a care in number a banner Uber because Uber you bet me to see the baby. Now driver they were took up. No be a pick your moko. Ebane sana, even if you identify the Uber driver, the next question is that. The next question is, Okochirem baby you see your mokrana. If you are the next guy pick your you might not be able to track it down. Inti ni who see ankasi yembokot company for abasu say yende radiasio. But I think say the bottom they bit me akan is yende radiasi. Na oyina na doya hoda. Inti sa pepepe na akwakusi. As to say whether the US embassy has been vindicated and they were right not to give Kotoko players the kind of saying visa bebre maybe anka nipa ne do so kra ka bia de betene yenya no. Me I don't see that way. I just think say nature na ebo Kotoko to skip this to avoid any disgrace. Because they say no the hammer news we not travel through no. So a saka omokra na e betimi travel through one will be another story. As to say their narrative and explanation of mobile back in form the man. Amount for betimi assume agiatum say that is really what happened. Na nya say bi omudwane any akwachi omo any adequate story for fraud dey bro no will also be another issue. It's quite dicey. It's quite dicey. Ye any gisem yi be akoda. Na ehede nyame wo man efiri ocheneko. Technically, it is still within their right to say so many because service and bury. Technically, Omundane. And among for no pay you. Hey, among for no pay. I remember at the point they say, I think someone was even reporting 4 players. But Yemfan said that Emenyame. The next thing is that team in the born no Chinama Babaka Kotoko team no. Na ebia by Joade Numbre. And yes, a Joade Numbre Baby through Ghana. Na players a coin no munina aba. Many are such true stories no. Atwapitim to clean the Kotoko image. But ene ope dwumadie ba akwa na dwumaku ba akwa na ho apapa ne pa Asante Kotoko ka ho. Da Asante Kotoko ye nipa nkene wodi amia because sensema nkofo aka no ene de nkofo atoto aye Kotoko ho no and what thing. You can't say much. I'll say you can't say much. I mean, Nessie defend you, but you can't say much because I remember myself now. I was asking questions. Let me ask a question. Omo do omo passport. Omo ye way. Omo ye ni nyina. Omo ye ni nyina. Nipa no so ni tu kwan a oda ne hotel room. Wuti manager no tim betena hotel ase ho. Enka se hotel no kwa Kotoko contingent ko e kra say. Omo ye ni pa say. Ohiri brenya 7 players plus ohiri brenya. Coach Ogum, Oklu, Ena, Najao. Then you get other officials from the FA account. Omudru even 20 krebeding. Akwa anima should be around 25. Tiebeding say, hotel unji ni nyina. And wakache hotel security say we manimpi. No. And the moment watching the pattern passport, assembly ebesi. Nipa no say ahomache na wada no so the one no na manim ho na hotel around and na compound no tisi abonten abede ho uhunu tie bia akire ena bia braso se ekoye training e braso se ekoye bibie from aba sɛ mu nyinaa mo mbra hɔ na ebi abɛkɔ a wonko nipa ti yɛntwɛn the statement of Asante Kotoko, because I know Kotoko will release another statement. Also, they came out with the first statement telling the whole world say they've involved the police. So the next one will be the statement where they will be confirming everything around this particular news. I was Asante Kotoko enumre yabone beda yede ba besom. Me ma me kasa ne nyetenten. Yenko ne yenko da channel pa yebesi bia ne besan de abrem. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Bye-bye.
Well, two groups laying claims to a Rivers State Assembly. At this point, you just wonder, when will this end? Because it looks like the Rivers political crisis is playing out in different arenas. There's one playing out at the local government. There's one playing out in courts. There's one playing out state assembly. There's one playing out maybe on the streets, right? When will this end? We're joined on the program this morning by Dr. Gift Wolu, who is a former commissioner for housing and senior lecturer, University of Port Harcourt, as well as Honorable Tamino Sisi Gogojaja, who is a former member of Rivers State House of Assembly, former commissioner of education. Gentlemen, you're welcome to the morning brief.
Good morning.
I just want to start with the opener. It's good to have you, gentlemen. This has been a long drawn battle, I must say, since last year. Is it exhausting for you, politicians, people of River State? Has this been exhausting, or this is part of the adrenaline that keeps the political wheel oiled? And I want to start with both of you, but Honorable Gogojaja, you can go first. Just a quick opener. Is this exhausting, or is part of the the whole adrenaline that keeps the political wheel oiled? Kindly unmute, Honorable Gogojaja. Please unmute your device so we can hear you. Okay. Looks like you're still muted. All right. While we're trying to... Can you hear me, Honorable Gogojaja? Okay, you can, but I can't hear you. So let's go to Dr. Wolu and get his thoughts. Same question to you.
Okay, thank you. I must say that it should be, and it is. It is because politics, the way I understand it, should be about the welfare of the people. It should be about making sure that our children go to good schools, that our women go to hospitals where they can get good medical care, that our people sleep with their eyes closed, and so on and so forth. And that is why it is said that the welfare of the people is the supreme law. My brother, in the next 10 days or so, it will be 1 year and 5 months since His Excellency Siminalayi Fubara became governor of Rivers State. Before then, what people knew about Rivers State was the flag off of projects, the commissioning of projects. And it was on the basis of that he became governor. Because the former governor, after leading the state for 8 years, presented a scorecard that I believe resonated with the aspirations of Rivers people, and campaigned vigorously for who should succeed him on the mantra of consolidation and continuity. And Rivers people voted overwhelmingly in that election for the PDP. And of course, we won all the seats. In the Assembly, we won all the seats except for one. In the House of Reps, we won all the Senate seats. And of course, we produced the governor. And since then, all that has been heard about River State is crisis. Like you said, it's either in the House of Assembly or in the local government or in the just concluded charade called local government election and so on. And that is to say that the man whose responsibility it is to ensure that the welfare of the people is put on the front burner does not realize that responsibility, perhaps he doesn't have what it takes to be able to deliver on that. And so every day, as you tune to your TV or radio, all that you hear is crisis, crisis, crisis. And of course, crisis cannot in any way represent the essence of politics and governance. It is not what Rivers people voted for. It is not what they deserve. But unfortunately, that's what they have. And for me, it is very exhausting. It is frustrating. It is annoying.
Well, Dr. Wallen.
At the end of the day, yes.
Pardon me. So you've said it's exhausting for you. Let's find out from Honorable Gogo Jaja his thoughts. Then we'll get into to substantive issues. But I just want to get this open. Honorable Gogo Jaja, please go ahead now.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I want to place on record that the major reason Governor Fubara was supported by Rivers people and nominated by the party is because of his accomplishments. He's seen as a man who can deliver. And I want to say that irrespective of the distractions that Governor Fubara is delivering, the purpose for which he was elected to govern Rivers State, I want to assure you that he's not distracted, he is focused, and by the special grace of God, in the next celebration of his second year in office, you will marvel at the level of progress and development he has achieved in Rivers State. I wouldn't want to bore you with some of those achievements now, but like you said, maybe by the time we get into the main issue for the day, you will appreciate that there are people who are set out to see if they can distract him, but he has refused to be distracted. He is focused, and he's achieving the promises he made to Rivers people.
No, my question was particularly about whether or not you're exhausted or this is exhausting for the government, and you want this to end as quick as possible, at least for the government of Rivers State.
There is no government who wouldn't want to have a peaceful atmosphere to govern. It's exhausting because those who are set to distract him have planned out their programs from one problem to the other, but he has the capacity to endure all.
So let me come to you now, Mr. Wallu. We can't ask this question enough about the origin of the crisis, or the political crisis now in Rivers State. And it's an important question because it's been asked time and again, what exactly is between the two leading politicians in Rivers State, the governor, Sim Fubara, and the FCT minister. So do you have an understanding, if you do, perhaps you could enlighten us, does this have anything to do with who controls what in governance? Does this have anything to do with the Rivers State Treasury?
Okay, so listening to my brother, Tamilo Sisi, he said that the governor was elected because of his track record of performance. That cannot be true, because before now, nobody knew about the governor. He was the accountant general of the state, and I don't see how we were able to measure his performance. Perhaps if he's contesting again and he has something to show, we will see. But until then, nobody should make reference to his performance because he doesn't have any such record. That said, I'll tell you simply that as a Rivers person, I've reflected on this matter over and over and over again. And when I listen to commentaries, I hear this question being asked often and on, and I have tried to see whether I can find an answer to it. And my analysis leads me to what I would call the happening of culture in Rivers State. Don't forget that before now, in 1992, we had Rufus Ada George as the governor of Rivers State, and we had Governor Peter Odili as his deputy at that time. Fast forward to 1999, Peter Odili becomes governor of Rivers State. but will not sit in the same room with Rufus Ada George. And then, while he was governor, his best man was Rotimi Chibika Amechi, who was the then Speaker of Rivers State Assembly. And Odile actually wanted to hand over to Amechi until the K-Leg saga happened. Now, Amechi comes governor, but will not see eyeball to eyeball with Odile. And then, as governor, his best man was Nyesom Wike. And Nyesom wanted to become governor, and then there was, as God will have it, Nyesom becomes governor and will not see eyeball to eyeball with Rotimi Amechi. And then we thought that this time around, because of the way Nyesom Wike was able to midwife the coming of Fubara, that there will be that shift in the way things happen in the state, wherein the predecessor and the successor can sit in one room and perhaps bring other former leaders and all the leaders and stakeholders in the state under one roof to begin to chart a veritable course for moving River State forward. But unfortunately, that did not happen because, like I said, culture happened. Because culture is the way of life of a people. And from what I have told you now, you can see that there is a pattern, there is a way of life of Rivers people. And this is because some people, I was listening to a former senator from Rivers State talk about this issue the other day. And he said that there was no way that Fubara was not going to run foul of Wike. Because after all, it happened in the time of Odile, it happened in the time of Mechi, it happened in the time of Wike, and so it should continue to happen. And this is the kind of story that you get being shared and transferred by very wicked people who don't want River State to move forward. And other younger people, including my brother, Tamino Sisi, Gogo Jaja, have bought into that. For them, as far as they are concerned, what makes sense is that there is Fubara quarreling with Wike, and they couldn't be bothered about how that affects the livelihood and the lives of Rivers people. About of Rivers State within the committee, of the fact that this crisis has cast Rivers State in very bad light.
Well, Mr. Wolu, your historical, memory lane journey certainly helps, but it still doesn't answer the question about what exactly has turned sour between, pformer governor and current governor. But I'd like to pardon me, I'd like to take it now to. Okay, just do 30 seconds on that, so that I can take it to Mr. Gogo Jaja.
The point is that Fubara became governor with the help of Nyesom Wike, who in the first place rallied the rest of the party members to nominate him and campaign for him vigorously. Now he becomes governor, and people went and lied to him, told him that, look, here in River State, the only way things can work is when you quarrel with your predecessor. And I told you who said that, and several other people have said the same thing, that you must find a way to quarrel with your guy, as he calls him. And then he did.
But indeed, if it were that simplistic, certainly there has been a political solution brokered to this crisis, for which some have said it was an unfair balance that didn't favor the governor, but still he acceded to it. And the governor has said that he has, done everything he can, to ensure that this comes to an end, including going on all fours to beg. So one still wonders why this has not been resolved. But let me take it to Mr. Gogo Jaja. Let me take this to Mr. Gogo Jaja. Mr. Gogo Jaja, there are reports about the impact of this continuing political crisis on River State, and I wonder if this is true. You can confirm or deny it. There are reports that many businesses are standing still, waiting for things to be more definite as far as governance is concerned. That in fact there is a vehicle assembly plant that is supposed to take off in Opobo, but because of the political uncertainty, that has not happened. Is that true? And if it is true, how worried is the River State government, and what is it doing to exit this protracted crisis period?
Okay, let me correct Mr. Wallo once more. I stated clearly, very clearly, that the reason for which Governor Fubara was nominated and elected as governor of Rivers State was as a result of his track record. I can state without equivocation that he was one of those behind the success of the last administration. He was the accountant general of the state. And you mustn't have a track record not until you either hold one political office or the other. Don't also forget that accountant general is a career, a civil service job. He was appointed as the accountant general because he was prudent in the management of the resources of the state wherever he found himself. Having stated that, let me state clearly, when you ask the genesis of what the problem is, Governor Fubara has told Nigerians that he has no issue with his predecessor. He has mentioned to you over and over. But Governor Wike has said to Nigerians that, look, he wouldn't allow any person to take over his structure. I want to state here clearly that Governor Fubara is not interested in the structure. He hasn't been interested. He hasn't told anybody that he wants to control any structure. His interest is in the development of Rivers State. I wouldn't want to go personal when Mr. Wallu said people like Amnosisi Gogojaja. I want to address issues. Governor Wike had said to Nigerians what his issues are, that he wants to control the structure. He wants to control everything in Rivers State. And you know that wouldn't be possible. And therefore, I want to say that, again, whether you like it or not, wherever you have crisis, there are certain areas it will affect. However, Governor Fubara is facing the task of governance. He's facing the task of development. And if you go to Rivers State today, a lot of projects are being executed and they are carrying on. Maybe, like I said, if the issues are coming up, I want to address them, tackle them headlong. I wouldn't want to parry any question. Yes, there must be areas the crisis will be affected. However, Governor Fubara is executing projects he has promised Rivers people.
So let's talk about the areas that this crisis, of course, some of the areas this crisis is affecting. One of them is the budgetary process. We've seen now the Amewule-led House of Assembly and the Okojumbo group, the back and forth. One saying your seats are vacant, the other one saying no, your seats are vacant. And then the Amewule-led House saying, well, the governor can present the budget. By the way, they are still stuck on the previous budget that has not been presented. And I imagine what that is doing to governance. And the Okojumbo group says, we are ready for 2025 budget. Clearly, and I speak with business people, investors, and these are the kinds of things they look at and they say, no, don't go to Rivers State, because clearly the atmosphere is very uncertain. They can have a deal with the government today and tomorrow another group says another thing. So there's no point even coming in the first place. So clearly this is affecting, governance and even the business activities a lot.
Well, if you're talking about the 2024 budget, I think that is an appropriation law in Rivers State today. That budget has been presented and signed into law. I think that the governor is talking about the presentation of 2025 budget to the Rivers State House of Assembly. There is no group that can claim that there is no budget in Rivers State. The budget has been signed into law. And I will want to implore you, whoever you have been asking advising not to come to do business in Rivers State, please do well and tell the person to come and invest in our state. The 2024 budget is in operation.
Honorable Gogojaja, just a moment. I will not let that slide. You misquoted me, obviously. You said I'm advising people not to come to Rivers State. I never said that.
Whoever you have an opportunity to advise, please advise encourage the person to come to the state.
Because facts are sacred. I don't want anybody to misquote me on this one.
No, I won't misquote you.
All right. Sure. So let me ask Dr. Wallu as well. Do you agree with him, particularly regarding the budget? Also comes to the seats that have been declared vacant. At this rate, if we're going by what both groups have said, all seats are vacant. But let's talk about the budgetary process and how this is affecting, business governance itself. Do you agree with Honorable Gogojaja that this is not affecting in any way?
The truth is that when people want to tell you, when people want to help you, they tell you the truth. But when they want to help themselves, they tell you what you want to hear. I think what my brother there has said is what he thinks the governor wants to hear, and he's saying it to help himself, not to help the governor. As of today, the authentic House of Assembly in Rivers State is the one led by Martin Lamegule. Only last week, the appeal court said so. Before then, the Omoto Judge Somochoso said so. And of course, Rivers State is made up of 32 seats. The assembly is made up of 32 seats. And what he's referring to as Rivers State Assembly is 3 persons. That is not what Rivers people want. That's not what Rivers people voted for. Now, even if we have crisis, you will expect that people will follow the law and obey the law. And when there is clarity as to what the law says, people are bound to obey them. It doesn't matter how you feel. You may not be comfortable with the position of the law. Because when government becomes a lawbreaker, it invites anarchy. And we have seen a lot of it, or something close to it in Rivers State. We have seen people die. We have seen properties destroyed. That's the kind of thing that's going on in Rivers State. It's telling you to tell those who want to come to Rivers State to come and invest. It's not your business to do that. These business people, they have their information and they get information. They know how to do the analysis. They know where to put their money. So they will not rely on what one person or the other tells them. And when you talk about who is authentic and who is not authentic, ordinarily, let us even assume, without conceding, that some people have lost their seats. The normal thing to do is for you to put in place a process so that there is representation. Because we're talking about democracy. What we have in Rivers State today is dictatorship, wherein the governor is both the assembly, is the executive, and to an extent, the judiciary. And in that kind of situation, what you will have is chaos. There's no development going on in Rivers State. Let nobody be deceived. There's nothing happening in Rivers State. You say a lot of projects are going on. You need to mention them. You need to let people know what are these projects, what are the impact of those projects, and who approved those projects. If you don't have a budget and you are going ahead spending public funds, all because you think that it suits you at a particular point in time, I believe that one day this matter will come to a head in the court of law, and everybody will know who is right or wrong. I'm not a lawyer, so and I don't want to bother so much about the legalese. But the truth of the matter is that last week there was a court judgment saying that Martin and co are the authentic leadership of the River State Assembly and have asked the governor to represent the budget. But people take public policy, public affair and treat it like private affair. Rivers State does not belong to Governor Fubara. It belongs to Rivers people. He's our governor, yes, but he has to follow the law. He has to work with other people. He wants to work alone. He's comfortable with the 3 persons that are like his errand boys. He tells them what to do and they do it overnight.
Well,
the budget that they are making reference to, that budget was passed overnight. I was in cabinet then. I didn't even get to hear that we were going to present budget. Ordinarily, every commissioner was supposed to go and defend their budget before the State House Assembly. But that didn't happen. Do you call that a budget? Do you call that a government that is democratic? Do you say that that government cares about Rivers people and their future? The answer is no.
Well, Mr. Walu, the River State government has since appealed that judgment, and we imagine that following that appeal, that perhaps things will stay as they are. But lawyers can interpret that. Let me bring this now to Mr. Gogojaja. What needs to give such that there can be a solution to this political crisis?
No, let me correct some impressions so that Mr. Walu does not misinform Nigerians. First is you will not divorce this matter from the incidents of 30th October 2023. Some people were directed to go and serve the governor an impeachment notice. And when they got there that morning, the first thing they did was to say they have suspended 4 members of the Rivers State House of Assembly. Don't forget that these people are members of the Rivers State House of Assembly. And on the same date, 30th of October 2023, another speaker emerged in the person of Right Honorable Edison Eye. And within that period, when another speaker emerged, that was when Martin Samehule and his group approached the State High Court or Federal High Court to determine the authentic speaker. Don't forget, there are 2 speakers now. And between the period they went to court and the 11th of December, they defected to another political party. They had initiated the matter you are talking about before their defection. Don't also forget that there were 2 claimants to the office of the speakership of River State House of Assembly. Having defected, nobody anticipated that the speaker would be part of those who would defect. Now, Edison went to the State High Court, the Court of Justice Dana Gogo, to declare him the authentic speaker of River State. And he got an ex parte order to function in that office without interference from the other group. And it was on that basis that on the 12th or 13th of December, he declared their offices vacant. He rightly wrote to INEC. And as soon as he wrote to INEC to declare to fill the offices, Amehule has never told you, and I'm sure that they will not inform Nigerians, that they ran to the Federal High Court, the Court of Justice, Donatus Okorowo. They swore to an affidavit agreeing, affirming that they have defected to the APC, and that the court should restrain INEC from either withdrawing their certificate of return and filling their offices. That order they got, and that is the order they are used. They haven't told any person that they swore to an affidavit, that having declared, Supreme Court had earlier said that as soon as you defect, you automatically lose your office. Now, having declared their seats vacant, they ran to Justice Okorowo's court to get an ex parte order restraining INEC from filling their seats, from conducting elections to fill their seats. These are things they won't tell you. And therefore, when you say that appeal court has said that Martin Samehule is the authentic speaker, this is a matter he filed before his defection. They will also tell the world this. And therefore, you can't place something on nothing and you expect it to start.
But Mr. Gogojaja, pardon me if I may come in there. Can 3 members form a quorum to preside over State Assembly affairs?
Sure.
3 members, just 3 members.
Sure. What does Chapter 5, Part 2, Section 96 of the Constitution, if you permit me to read, it says the quorum of the House of Assembly shall be 1/3 of all members of the House. That's it. But a lot of people stop at subsection 1. If you go to subsection 2 of that section, it says, if objection is taken by any member, if objection is taken by any member of the House present, that there are present in the House not fewer than 1/3. So it depends. If you check the Constitution, the only person who can determine if the House has formed a quorum is a member sitting in that chamber, not any other person, as provided by Chapter 5, Part 2, Section 96, Subsection 2 of the House. So when you talk about quorum, you do not have, no other person has the right to draw the attention of the speaker to the quorum of the House except the member that is sitting. But when Nigerians read the Constitution, they only restrict themselves to the provisions of Section 1 of 96, Section 2, Subsection 2. I can tell you that, sure, the House can sit with 3 members and perform the business of the House.
All right.
That's the Constitution.
All right, very quickly, Mr. Gogojaja, speak to solutions. What should give for peace to reign in River State?
For me, I think that they instituted a matter in Justice Okorowo's court. And since they got that restraining order stopping any from conducting election in their constituencies, they haven't returned back to that court. And that's an ex parte order. I feel that those who have defected according to the judgment of Supreme Court have automatically lost their seat. You don't even need an interpretation of court.
But Mr. Gogojaja, parties are choosing which judgments to obey, and when they refuse to obey a certain judgment, they go to a higher court. For instance, the Rivers State government has approached the Supreme Court following the judgment that affirmed Martin Amewule as Speaker. So, are the courts the solution? Are you sure that the courts are the solution to this?
Now, listen. Even in the 8-point agenda they were talking about, when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu offered to bring solution to the crisis, when it came to the issue of the members of the Rivers State House of Assembly that have crossed to the APC, what did the president say? The president said they have already crossed the other side of the river, and that he will not allow them to return. What does that mean? That they have already crossed to APC. That's what the president told them. Why are they disobeying the president? Why are they saying they are no longer members of the APC? They told Mr. President that they have crossed over to his party, and President said that, look, people have already crossed over to the other side of the river, and I won't allow you, I can't receive new children and allow them to go back. But then to return to say to Nigerians that they are no longer members of the APC is also a disobedience to Mr. President. They remember where they are, go back to their constituencies to recontest and see if they will be voted to return to the House. As we speak, they are no longer members of the House, and that is the simple truth.
Well, Mr. Gogojaja, I think it was the FCT minister that asked the governor to obey court orders, right? So if you say that even though this case was put in court before an incident happened, the onus is then on the party who is aggrieved to go to court to vacate that particular judgment. But I think we all agree that court orders or judgments should be obeyed when they are given and not choose. And I think it goes to the other party, to Dr. Wolu. Mr. Gogojaja, just a second, pardon me. Let's allow Dr. Wolu speak to this one as we wind down, because it's also been said that your group is choosing which court order or judgment to obey.
That's not true. That's not true.
Now, the person, if you ask me, the person who disobeyed the president and said so very clearly to the world is the governor. Because after the resolution was made, the governor came back to the state and announced to Rivers people and the world at large that the agreement was not a death sentence, that it was something he was ready to implement, and that there was no price too high to pay for the peace of Rivers State. And I like that sentence, that there is no price too much to pay for the peace of Rivers State, because without peace, there cannot be development. Now, a few weeks after, when those who want to help themselves, like I said, when they want to help you, they tell you the truth. When they want to help themselves, they tell you what you want to hear. When they went back to him and told him what he wants to hear, he turned and said that what happened with the president was a mere political, I don't know what name he called it, and that he has no constitutional backing, and then that he was not going to go ahead with it. And that is why this problem has lingered. For me, it is not correct for anybody, any individual, no matter how highly placed, or any institution, to disobey orders of court. Because without the judiciary, this place will be an animal kingdom. Without law and order, man becomes an animal, living by his instincts. Unfortunately, we have a situation where those who are supposed to keep the law are the ones breaking it. And some people, because it feels good, because they think that there's something they have to benefit, are supporting that. That should not be allowed. Well, let me tell you, Rivers State is too important to be toyed with by many people who are uninformed about politics and democracy but who have become very prominent in the politics of River State.
Well, gentlemen, we have to anchor at this point because of time. But we have to anchor. We're totally out of time, gentlemen. We've gone back and forth, and clearly this is an ongoing conversation. Perhaps we'll have it in the coming days, but we're bound by time, right? We've been speaking with Honorable Tamino Sisigogo Jaja, former member, River State House of Assembly, former Commissioner of Education, as well as Dr. Gift Wolu, former Commissioner for Housing, Senior Lecturer, University of Port Harcourt. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time on the program. Oh, yes, just as we are meant to be bound by law, we're also bound by time on the show. So we'll take a moment now. When we return, I'll tell you about what's playing out in Kogi State, about the flooding. 2 million, that's a lot. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Senate today debated the autonomy for local governments in Nigeria, asking states and LGs to fully comply with Supreme Court judgment. And the governor of Bayelsa State, Doye Diri, says Nigeria can progress if we can dialogue to tackle our problems and fix the holes in our federalism. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Okimbaloe. Tonight, our conversations around the structure of Nigeria, the state of the nation, and the way forward. And so, stick around, because these conversations are important for us to get it right. Well, we might be in economic quagmire, but for us to find our path in the dark, we need to also know where the future is, where it lies, and exactly how to get there. So tonight, let's get together, everyone, and let's chart a way forward. Let me first and foremost tell you what the Bayelsa State Governor has said. But first and foremost, let's check out some of your political roundup stories.
The Nigerian Senate has asked state and local governments to immediately comply with the Supreme Court judgment, particularly relating to local government accounts and funds given directly to them. The Senate also resolved to take immediate steps to alter sections of the Constitution to give full autonomy to local government administration in the country. The resolution was announced by the Deputy Senate President, Senator Jibril Baro, lawmakers upon reconvening from a closed-door session where the chamber debated attempts by some state governments to circumvent the ruling of the Supreme Court on July 11. The House of Representatives have mandated its Constitutional Review Committee to organize public hearings with a view to addressing permanently the delay in justice delivery in the country and restoring the confidence in the judiciary. This is sequel to a motion raised by Honorable Ganiu Ayuba, drawing attention to cases in trial courts that should have been resolved within months but have lasted 4 to 5 years before judgment is delivered. In the meantime, the House has mandated its Committee on Works to ascertain the causes of incessant building collapse and provide a lasting solution to curb the menace. Some residents of Edo State, who are members of the People's Democratic Party, PDP in Abuja, have staged a peaceful protest to the headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, asking the Edo State PDP governorship candidate be given unfettered access to all information relating to the September 21st governorship elections. The protesters alleged that the INEC in Edo is denying the PDP candidate Mr. Sway Gadalo access to the INEC result viewing portal and the bimodal voter system BVAS, which was deployed for the election. The Edo State Resident Electoral Commissioner Anubom Onoha has denied allegations against him by the People's Democratic Party PDP that he resisted requests to gain access to the bimodal voter accreditation system BVAS inspection before the just concluded gubernatorial elections in the state. In a statement issued by Mr. Onoha, he described the PDP's allegation as baseless, misleading, and devoid of the truth. Mr. Onoha notes that he never denied any political party, agents, or representatives access to the BVAS ahead of the contestation in courts to inspect the BVAS. The All Progressives Congress, APC in Edo State, says the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has agreed to move the inspection of electoral material to Thursday, October 10, to allow the party prepare itself. The chairman of the APC in Edo State, Jarrett Tenebe, and the legal counsel, Victor Ohiosunwan, confirmed to journalists that they did not come with all the the necessary materials because of a mix-up in the inspection process. The legal team of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, who were also at the Edo INEC state headquarters in Benin City, however, did not grant any interviews. The Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, ALGAN, has promised to prioritize key areas of development across local government councils in the country. Addressing journalists in Abuja, the newly elected chairman of the association, Mr. Bello Lawal, notes that the local government administration will continue to focus on grassroots development to empower local communities through sustainable projects and initiatives to promote economic growth, infrastructure development, and social welfare at the local level. He promised to work to ensure that the 774 local government chairmen work towards improving basic education and strengthening primary health care as well as security in their various local councils. He also condemned the attack on local government councils in Rivers State.
There are those who are truly worried about the state and the structure of the nation and who think that we cannot get it right if we don't fix the structure. One of them is the Bayelsa State Governor, Doye Diri, who is a former lawmaker and is serving as a second-term governor. Senator Doye Diri says Nigeria is at a crossroads and must go back to a true federalism if it must survive and realize its economic potential. Senator Doye says a situation where only the federal government can create local government is an aberration. He said this today while delivering the 64th University of Nigeria Founders Day lecture titled Rethinking Our Future, the Need for True Federalism and Economic Renaissance. It was at the Nsukka campus of the university. Governor Diri says it is through dialogue and collaboration that we will pave the way for a brighter future for all Nigerians. Take a listen to him.
State commissioner goes to Abuja to go and receive FAC allocation. So my question is that healthy for this country to develop? Well, the FAC allocations may solve some immediate problems. They may fill our coffers. They may also drain our creativity, leaving us with a deficit of innovation of ideas and impede our forward momentum. Now, this other issue of fiscal federalism. A missing component in our current structure offers federating units the authority to flex their economic muscles, thus able to express their cultural and political identities within a national framework. These would ease the tensions that arise from the feeling of marginalization, as each state would have the autonomy to address its own challenges without undue interference from the center. Therefore, federalism in its ideal form is the key that unlocks the door to a prosperous, competitive, and self-sustaining Nigeria.
That's Governor Diri there talking about the state of federalism. This is quite important because our set of conversation tonight is hinged on the structure of the nation. It's interesting that he gave that lecture today, which is going to serve as some premise to what we're discussing. But let me also tell you what happened today in Ondo State, where Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa has with a big stick on one of his political aides. The governor today sacked one of his political aides, the Special Assistant on Forestry, Central District, Mr. Adeboye Taufik Ewenla, with immediate effect. According to a press statement issued by the governor's chief press secretary, Ebenezer Adeniyo, it reveals that reason for the governor's action follows allegation of bribery and intimidation leveled against Mr. Ewenla by some timber merchants in the state. The statement further notes that Governor Ayedatiwa also ordered a probe into the activities of those saddled with the responsibility of managing forest reserves in the state. A replacement, according to the Ondo State Governor for Mr. Ewenla, will be announced in due course, but the governor urged all political appointees to conduct themselves in line with the provisions of the law and rules guiding their duties. And of course, today we saw a closed-door session, which lasted for several minutes. Now, the Senate came out of that closed-door section and asked that state and local government to immediately comply with the Supreme Court judgment, particularly relating to local government accounts and the funds given directly to them. The Senate also resolved to take immediate steps to alter sections of the Constitution to give full autonomy to local government administration in the country. The resolutions was announced by the Deputy Senate President, Senator Jibrin Barau. Lawmakers upon the reconvening from a closed-door session where the chamber debated attempts by some state governments to circumvent the ruling of the Supreme Court. I have the man who moved the motion on the floor today, Senator Tony Nwoye. He's live with me here in the studio. But before we get into that, there is another very interesting scenario playing out. Is the fact that the Supreme Court has scheduled on October 22 to hear a suit filed by 16 state governments. Well, it was originally filed by the Kogi state government. Now 15 other states have now asked the Supreme Court to be joined in that matter. And they're challenging the legality of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, and they're contesting the constitutionality of the laws establishing the EFCC. The 7-man panel of the justices led by Justice Uwane Abahaji on Tuesday fixed October 22 for hearing in that matter, and they were joined by co-plaintiffs and leave granted for consolidation of the case in the suit originally filed by the Kogi state government. Don't forget, Kano, Lagos, Kogi state, or some of these states have established their own anti-corruption agencies. Now, there is a federal anti-corruption agency like the EFCC. There's been some issues in the past, and there are judgments of court to the effect that some cases cannot be heard on corruption matter by the EFCC because there is an establishment of state-controlled or state-established corruption agencies. Now, this is 16 states, and we now hear that more states want to join them to challenge the constitutionality in the establishment of the EFCC. First and foremost, let's deal with this matter before coming to Senator Tony Nwoye. I'm being joined by one of the very most experienced lawyers in Nigeria, an elder statesman in every right, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Chief Robert Clark, who joins us live from Surulere in Lagos. Thank you so much, Chief Clark, for joining us, and it's good to see you tonight on the program. Hello, Chief Clark. I don't know if you can hear me.
I'm hearing you very well.
Fabulous. It's good to hear. I mean, I've heard that voice. It's been a while, and it's good to see you, sir. But let's begin the conversation.
Oh, well, you jettisoned me. You jettisoned me.
That's not possible. I don't just want to disturb you. I don't just want to disturb you. You're going to be 19 in a matter of months, isn't it? And, I mean, much respect to your knowledge, wisdom, and your experience.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure having you join us. I want to get your view on this suit that has been brought before the Supreme Court. Of course, the Supreme Court has the court that can hear such a matter where there is a conflict or there is a dispute between state and federal agencies of federal government. Now, what is your view? The challenging the constitutionality of the establishment or the laws establishing the EFCC?
Well, I don't know the reasons why they are doing so. I do not have before me any documents showing the application that has been made. But from what you are trying to tell me, hello?
I'm here, sir. Please go ahead.
What you are trying to tell, From what you are trying to tell me, I can believe that they are not happy with what is going on. They want the matter to be reviewed constitutionally. And I believe that they have every right to do so. But until I see the papers or the application before the court, it will be difficult for me to make any statement on their reasons, because they are not making oral applications, but they are rather making specific written applications. So to that extent, in my opinion, or not, you permit me that area. What I'm trying to say is the legitimacy or no legitimacy of a law can be challenged by the governors They have a legal right so to do, and I don't blame them. The facts upon which they are basing their application, I don't know. So I can just tell you that they have a legal right as governors to bring before the Supreme Court an action that challenges a law that is repugnant or is not informed with the Constitution. So that's how far I can say now. But if you enlighten me as to what facts they are bringing before the Supreme Court for their application, then I'll be in a better position to give a line of thought.
Yeah, Chief Clerk, part of the argument is the road involvement of states when making laws to establish these kind of agencies, and perhaps the procedure upon which such laws were made. And we do know that the history of the EFCC dates back to the Obasanjo administration. That was when the EFCC was established. But some of these states are contending that a law that was put in place to establish an institution that was in the first place without the consent of the state is something that they want to challenge in court. And we do know that when states come together, in the case of the VAT, they challenged the federal government, and we knew what came about. But in the process of lawmaking under our constitution and in constitutional law, what do you make of the stance of the states? Now there are 16 now. Kogi State for instituting that suit, and 15 other states joining in.
If you look at the antecedents of this law, the operation of this law, many of the very, very notorious, I will not use the word notorious derogatorily, has been involving governors, sitting governors, governors that are out of office, and therefore they have every right to be jittery. If anybody wants to feel they are being jittery, to be jittery that this matter is merely created for the governor's purpose. But I do not see to that point. The creation of a law is the prerequisite of the legislatures. If there is any specific thing in that law that runs against the Constitution, then they should let us see it, and then definitely the court will set it aside. But if there is no law today that says the federal government cannot pass a law relating to criminal acts of governors during the period of executive work, then I doubt whether they are treading the correct ground. They cannot challenge the federal government for implementing an existing law. They cannot challenge the police or any other agency of governance that is executing the existence of an existing law. This law they are trying to challenge is a law that has been created and is part of our law as of today. So if they want to challenge it, if there are reasonable grounds to say the federal government has no power to be the executors of this law, then one looks at it at a different way. If they feel that even if the law is correct, it should be implemented both by the federal government and the state government, then I don't know what angles they are actually challenging.
Let me bring some context, a bit more of details on what the grounds. This was initially a Kogi State Attorney General's move on this matter. And the contention majorly was that they are seeking a declaration that the federal government, through the Nigerian Federal Intelligence Unit, the NFIU, lacked the power to issue any directive, guideline, advisory, or any instrument for the administration and management of funds belonging to the Kogi State government. They also sought the declaration that the EFCC, the NFIU, or any agency of the federal government cannot investigate requisition documents, invite and or arrest anyone with respect to offenses arising from or touching on the administration and management of funds belonging to the Kogi State government. Now, these are some of the premises in which they also went to court. They argue that bringing a convention into the Nigerian law, the provision of Section 12 must be complied with. According to them, the Constitution requires that the majority of the state assembly, houses of assembly, have to agree to bring the convention before passing the EFCC Act and others, which was allegedly never done. That was the main premise upon which the Kogi state government went to court.
Okay. I can now see the background why, in particular, the Kogi state government has gone to court, because they are in the soup as of now. But this is a point of law that is not meant for you and I to look at and be, talking about it on air as if it's a matter before the Supreme Court now. The Supreme Court is to look into it. My advice is that we can give opinions, but we ought to be very, very, very careful in giving an opinion when the matter is now before the Supreme Court. This is a sitting matter. The Supreme Court judges have to sit down together and deliberate about it. So we have to be very careful. But there are no facts that one can say is involved in this. But in doing all these things, we have to be careful, because most of the facts as of today they are going to use is already, what you and I know of the acts of sitting governors who have had the opportunity to sit on our Commonwealth and the way and manner they have done it. But let me assure you that the Supreme Court has the power, as of now, has the power to look into their complaint. If their complaint has a basis in law, definitely, I am quite sure that the panel of Supreme Court judges we have now are dedicated judges, and who will look at it with full dedication required of their professionalism.
Yeah, great. So now let me take you, Chief Clerk, to the matter involving the role and the execution of such roles by the judiciary. And we talk about the independence of the judiciary and the manner in which some judges or some courts administer their roles. There are a lot of people who find a problem in the manner in which courts of coordinate jurisdiction will deliver judgment in matter before them. People will raise the issue of coordination. People will raise the issue of bias. People will raise the issue of manipulation of the court processes. But as a very senior member of the bar, how do you think our country and our judicial system can overcome and solve this riddle that has sometimes brought the judiciary to disrepute?
It is very unfortunate, very, very, very unfortunate. I have discovered that the question of the interpretation of electoral matters, which takes over almost 100% of what you are referring to, are always on television, being judgments by one court in Sokoto against an act in Shagamu, and all these things. My view now is that if we are not careful in Nigeria today, we will turn our courts into a kangaroo court, regardless of the status. Because if a court of coordinate jurisdiction give judgments at variance with each other, and superior courts give another judgment, and we make all these issues on television, whereby the ordinary man or woman does not even know what the courts are saying, we are treading on very dangerous ground. I have to be very careful. I was listening to one of your sister stations this morning. A lawyer was being asked this type of question, and I was not happy even the way the lawyer was replying it. The lawyer was being asked whether the judgment in the Federal High Court is superior to a judgment in the State High Court, and why there should be conflict and all. It doesn't all go well for the judiciary in this country. We have to be very careful. And if any lawyer is being asked such a question, he should lay it down in a way and manner where lay persons like you and I can be able to learn from, For instance, if a state high court makes an order on a matter it has no jurisdiction, and the same matter is taken before a federal high court that has jurisdiction, definitely the judgment of the federal high court, who has jurisdiction, will be relied upon more than the state high court that has no jurisdiction. So we have to be careful that we, as lawyers ourselves, we should be able to enlighten viewers that what we are seeing now is not that Nigeria has kangaroo judges, but that the question of jurisdiction is at play. And we lawyers use the question of jurisdiction a lot to take advantage of our cases. So my view about this again is that there is no reason why today we should be bogged down by court judgments. We have created a situation in Nigeria now that if you are not careful, without sitting down, getting our senses correctly, and reenact and do or restructure whatever we want to do, we'll be treading on very, very dangerous grounds.
But Chief Clerk, how do we solve this problem? We have a new CJN in place, but of course we do know that some of these issues are procedural. If you have any problem, if the NJC, for example, has any issue, I'm not sure the NJC can act unilaterally without any petition coming up. What do you think is the best ways in handling this? This has actually made a mess and a joke of our court system, where people think that they can jump from one court or the other in fishing and shopping for judgment, and when there are other courts that have given judgment in those kind of cases. I mean, it's terrible, and it mostly happens, like you said, electoral matter and political matters.
Well, let me give you a clear example, because I'm not going to shut up my mouth at my age and see many things happening in the judiciary myself that I'm not happy about. For instance, when the 1999 Constitution was being written by many of our colleagues who were good lawyers then, they never arrogated to the Supreme Court the power on electoral matters, except for the Supreme Court, except for the apex court, except to the presidency. All the election matters emanate at the Court of Appeal level. But during the period of one of my very good friends at CG, it was decided by the Supreme Court judges themselves. Because when they were arguing this matter before, I told them that you have created a self-inflicted injury. Because today you are claiming you are the greatest working Supreme Court in Africa. You are the greatest Supreme Court judge or something in the bench at the Court of Appeal. And we would not have had all these problems while the Supreme Court today will be having on its list 500 matters, pre-election matters. Then they created it and they are suffering from it today. And they too should take it out, be able to allow Nigeria to breathe. I don't want to tell you about the instance that brought it up or the history that brought it up, but virtually every Nigerian knows about it. It's very unfortunate. Today, we find the Supreme Court hearing pre-election matters and using the same appeal on the pre-election matter to make pronouncement on election matter. Look at Zamfara case. Look at what the Supreme Court did to Zamfara case. It was a pre-election matter, and it got to the Supreme Court on a seat of 5 judges, not a constitutional court, but they sat there because they are kings of all kings and lords of all lords, as some of them say. And they decided to declare election petition matter on an appeal when they know they have no jurisdiction. Most of this problem is created by them too. And if we are not careful, Nigeria has to sit down and reform, especially on election matters. We have to have a new set of law that will guide us in election matters. If not, we're in trouble.
one matter, because you've seen Nigeria. Nigeria was, I mean, with some of you saw Nigeria. You are way older than the nation itself. Nigeria is just.
I was 12 years older than. I am 12 years older than the nation.
Absolutely.
I'm nearing my 90.
Yeah. So you are a senior brother to the nation, if you can put it that way. So
yes.
You've seen it all.
But I don't beg to. I agree with you.
You've seen it all. You've seen how everything has progressed. Yeah. So
and at my age now, I should be able to say it all.
Absolutely. Now, give us an understanding. You heard what Governor of Bayelsa says there about our federalism. What has become the Senate today debated the local government autonomy. Some states are still not complying. Some local government are still not in full picture of the judgment of the Supreme Court. Now, how do we fix this imbalance? The senator said there must be an urgent attention in the constitutional amendment to permanently fixing the role of the local government. But then, why is it difficult, Chief Clerk, to how we can make the very grassroots governance in Nigeria function well? How can we permanently fix the structure of this country? What structure or what style fits our nation? You've seen it all. What can you tell? We've seen parliamentary.
Let me draw from my own experience.
Yes, sir.
Let me draw on my experience. Very, very good. The Chinese have surrounded us now with many things. But they have a proverb. The Chinese says, to build, you must destroy. That is the Chinese slogan, that to build, you must destroy. So I am appealing to the president today and to those who are in authority. Let us destroy all these laws we have now and come and restructure the whole thing. Because you can't build something on nothing. We have nothing now. This local government judgment of the Supreme Court, I'm not happy the way it got to the Supreme Court. There are many ways, and that's why when the Supreme Court did that without consulting senior members of the bar who could have given them, I don't agree with the Supreme Court on that judgment. Not on the basis of what they have done. If they had wanted to change the whole concept of that law, we will have done so under another way of restructuring.
So how do we destroy and start all over again? Because there are a lot of people who say this restructuring. How do we do that? Do you see the present president being able to take that political move? Because it's going to be a very strong political move. And it's very tricky.
Look, when I was fortunate to be the former president's lawyer, the very gentleman I will always remember, I was his lawyer for 18 months. And when he was out of office, that is Jonathan, there was a time when he was the president, he wanted to restructure the law. But I told him that you cannot make a law when there is no legal tripod upon which you can place it upon. Because the same people who you want to restructure their laws are enjoying and benefiting from this law so much that you find a new member who has never really, had more than one small car, wants to become a member of the House of Assembly, or wants to become, and within 2 or 3 years, you see the same man whom you knew was riding a tattered car. You will know the purposes of the office of that job is very good. And you're asking the man now to come and relinquish that job. They will not. None of these members today, from the president of the Senate to all these legislators, who will want to relinquish the journey their footsteps are on. Therefore, the president must do this. If I am somebody they can listen to, call a constitutional conference. But before you call the constitutional conference, send a bill to the parliament that, look, I want to restructure, but I want you to give me a bill that the way I'm going to do it, this, and this, you will approve it and allow it to go for referendum after your approval. Without that, any restructuring being done outside any legal basis goes to nowhere. And Jonathan found himself in that position. Look how much was spent by him. Today, Adebanjo, my good brother, will be telling you, bring back this thing. On what basis? Whom are you going to give it to? If you bring it to their house today, they will throw it away. Because how can you say a man who, before he became a member of the house, was only earning about 10,000 a month, now finds that he's earning 5 million a month, and you say he should come and he won't do it. So let's be honest. The best way, ask Mr. President, send a bill to the House of to the Parliament that I want to do this. I want to call a conference. I want you to note that at the end of the day, whatever the conference decides upon, I will represent it to you in the House. Give it your approval and let me send it for referendum.
All right.
To give it the validity of law that is needed. Once we do that, we won't have all this problem.
All right.
We are human beings. We have made laws which we didn't know the effect. Now that we are seeing the effects and we are seeing the manipulation by politicians themselves after what they are enjoying as benefits of the office. So my advice is that we can still restructure.
All right.
But we must do it so that it will have a legal basis.
Chief
we
Robert
must have
Clark.
a legal basis.
Yeah. I'm very sure that
Yes,
that your experience and your legal advice tonight will get to the right quarters, and I hope that they use them. But thank you so much. It's always good to learn from your wealth of wisdom and experience. Thank you so much indeed, Chief Robert Clark, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, by far one of the most experienced lawyers you can find around. Thank you so much indeed.
God bless you for me always.
Thank you so much, Clark. It's always a pleasure, sir. Well, let's turn our attention to Senator Tony Nwoye, the man who moved on the floor of the Senate and sent the Senate into a closed-door session. Senator Tony Nwoye, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, my brother Sheung.
What came up? What came in your mind? Because one would think that the Supreme Court judgment suffices, and states do not need any advisory to be able to implement, and the local government will need naturally just fall in line. But you were very moved and emotional about the state of affairs. What exactly came to your mind?
What came to my mind was that I remember the pre-1999 era when the local government system was very functional, when there were meaningful developments at the local government, when the poverty level was at the lowest ebb, when some local government chairmen, even up to 2003, when some council chairmen were able to do small roads, small drainage, small rural roads and co. And I know that those things have vanished. The local government system is going to extinction, has been shook up. They are not existing. Some governors are guilty, some are not guilty of at charge as concerns this thing. So when the president of this country, President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, who belongs to another party, different from where I belong, when through his Attorney General, they came and instituted this action, we were like, let us watch and know whether this will solve this problem. And on July 11th, 2024, Supreme Court's full panel